Right, welcome back. And it's the week of Valentine. We're counting hours now, more than 48 hours, and you will be celebrating Valentine. So we're going to be talking about marital communication. We've also put in the boo-boo communication too.
No, we're striking out marital because
relationship.
Okay.
Couple.
All right, relationship communication. Whether you're planning to get married or already are married, communication.
And if you're single.
Thankfully, Amaka is on the seat, so we should be getting the missiles from this end. Amaka is a communication coach. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I can't stop laughing. Whether to talk marital communication or couple. Okay, well, or boo-boo love, you call it.
A boo-boo.
Okay, well.
Since I'm single, I'm very bitter about you. So, I'm not going to take part in this conversation.
No, okay, certainly we talk about couple communication.
You'll not be missed. Go ahead.
Okay, well, maybe why marital, first of all, is probably because that's where people are most comfortable expressing love and making sure they nurture it because it's committed. It's a long-term relationship. It's for life. But when we talk about the boo-boo love, it can be here today, gone tomorrow.
Very correct.
And sometimes people will tell you that, oh, well, I think we were just in lust and not in love. So that's where the danger lies. It happens in marriage, though, because a story was once told about a man who met a counselor and asked, what happens to love after wedding? And the counselor was puzzled. And he inquired, why do you ask? He said, because I've married 3 good times. One lasted for 10 years, the other one 6 years, and the last one was just for 3 years. So what happens? Because at the initial time, we are in love. With those 3 women I've married, I was in love. But within a short period of time, I discovered that love has jumped out of the window. And I couldn't go on. What has happened?
He gets married next time, he's going to be married for only 6 months.
That's if he does.
10, 6, 3.
What happens in that case?
Okay, well, I'll answer with Gary Chapman's position about love. He says that love has a language. And until, as an individual, you're able to discover your partner's love language, you will not make
Which
any
could be
headway.
money, food.
Anyways, of course, we know that there are several opinions from different people about how many types or how many love languages we have. For instance, you see, even on internet, you see 1,000 ways to love your spouse, 1 million ways to show your love. But Gary Chapman, who of course are also taking sides with, argues that there are only 5 love languages. Every other thing you see, the 1 million, the rest of the 1,000 revolve around that 5 love languages. And the question now is, what are these 5 love languages? We begin to talk about words of affirmation, gift giving, physical touch, and then we talk about, well, where you mentioned money, right?
I know the gift
okay,
and the money
we talk about quality time.
I thought the gift and the money would be together.
Gift actually is under money because he or she may decide to give you money as a gift or give you
money to buy
flowers,
tangible gifts instead
perfumes, clothes, and so on. So his argument is that within these 5 love languages, you need to discover which one is your spouse's. Otherwise, you're wasting time. You'll not have peace.
What about having all 5?
Well, it may not be possible because for one person to have all the 5.
How about 4? Well, okay, 3.
It's too much. Okay, let's put it this way. Just discover your top most love language. Of course, others might still spill over, but most times you tend to find out that probably you are the type that love to be showered with lots of gifts, or you're the type that appreciates quality time, so you want him to stay with you, or you just want to get service, act of service. okay, help me throw the trash. I'm in the kitchen cooking, come in, help me chop the onions, and so on and so forth. So that's what happens because, okay.
There is a chance that people might misunderstand or misinterpret what you're saying. It's not one-sided. It's both ways.
Exactly.
A guy doing for a lady and a lady doing for a guy. Because Valentine is just by the corner. And a lot of girls are saying, I want my guy or my husband or my boyfriend or my fiance to do certain things. And they're forgetting that they also have to do something for their partners. So I needed to spell it out. Vicky was excited when I said, well, having 4 or 5 of it, but it's also vice versa.
If I do have a partner, I'm a giving person.
But let's talk about...
You still give, but we're talking about in a love relationship now where you have expectations and you believe that you're number one on this guy's list. So whatever it is that is coming from you is an expectation from him, and that will determine whether or not the love grows or dies. Now, let me take it further down. Talking about these love languages is not something you just wake up now and say, okay, mine is quality time. No. It goes back to your early childhood development. As a child, we tend to develop our UEP, which is unique emotional pattern. And where do you get it from? From your parents, from your significant others, your environment generally, growing up, what you see them do, how your dad interacted with your mom, how they even showed you love. And that determines what kind of unique emotional pattern you develop. And we have 2 basic unique emotional patterns. Either you develop a high sense of security or a low self-esteem. And all these depends on how they were able to accept you, appreciate you, commend you, reward you, punish you. And then you begin to feel, oh, okay, nobody really likes me because they're always criticizing everything I do. And now when you end up with a partner, you're bringing those baggages. And those baggages is what we call primary love language. You've developed it before you even met Mr. Right, if there's anything like that. And so your expectations will be based on those primary language you have. Now, mind you, as I'm coming, for instance, as a lady, you as a guy, you also have your primary love language. And that is where the conflict begins.
That's what I'm
because
getting.
you want to love me.
Tell us about what the key signs are where the trouble... When I'm reading the caption, you know, for relationship, for a while, I thought I saw martial communication. It's marital. I think it was like martial arts. So before they call it martial art communication, how do the couple know that things are about to go wrong?
You will know, certainly, because one, we are humans, we have feelings, and then most times the signs are always there. And that's what I was about saying, talking about you coming with your primary love language, and I am coming with mine. So basically, you are speaking your native love language, and I'm speaking mine. Now, between the two of us, I'm speaking Greek. I'm speaking foreign language because from your background, you already have an established impression and perception of what love is and should be, and you expect me to do the same. Unfortunately, we're 2 different personalities, and I'm sitting here watching you also. No, that's not how my dad was loving my mom. No. In fact, probably where I was coming from, they told me you're to be seen and not heard. And so you're doing everything. I'm just watching and swallowing it. I don't want to be heard because that's how they've nurtured me, that I shouldn't be heard. And things will be going from bad to worse because nobody is talking. Nobody is talking.
But there are 1,000 ways to Rome. So if I wash my rice before I boil it, you boil the rice before I wash it. It's the style I've seen. So
that's the problem, and so that's why it's necessary at that stage. The only thing or the only solution is for both of us to step out of our comfort zone. Step away from our native love languages. Do away with our primary love language and develop a secondary love language, which means that I must love you the way you understand love to be. And you must love me the way I understand love to be. And so we have to dialogue. Yes, I've given you everything. You live in a mansion. I've bought you a big car.
I hated that program.
Buy everything you need. So what else?
Dialogue. I hated that program.
But that's the way life is. We have to move forward with dialogue.
Even the techniques in dialogue, very important. Because you talk over each other, use abusive words, you're not going to get anywhere. So the method in which you decide to communicate with your partner is important.
That's right. That's
Give
right.
us a few tips in having to pass the message across without seeming overbearing, insultive, and rude, and unable to reach the person. Because once you're like that, the other person puts up a wall and it's impossible.
Number one step is positivity. Be positive, because everything is about mindset. When you're positive about your relationship and you want to work it out, and you're not interested in who is wrong or right, but you're coming in with a mindset that I need this relationship to work, and I know that by the time I calm down and talk to him in a calm tone, he will listen. But not when I come in with all those agitations already going on inside of me, and I come in aggressive and I pounce on you. You're human. You're bound to react. And at the end of the day, we might end up arguing and not making a headway. And sometimes, some people may decide, okay, is that how it is? You shout on top of your voice. Okay, keep shouting. And the person switches off. And that's when silence is no longer golden. Because by keeping quiet, you can't get anything out of me, and we can't have a meeting point, because you can't get my point of view, and I'm not even ready and willing to listen. Then secondly is, even when we decide to talk, we have to make the environment conducive for talking.
Pop a bottle of wine,
Well,
soft
candlelight.
music, chocolates on the table.
Okay, make make the atmosphere romantic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and what if we have done
And then
all
NEPA
that,
takes the lights.
and
PTA takes the lights, and then you're sweating.
besides the lights,
You get
let's
candles.
say all those, beautiful setting, romantic atmosphere,
Music,
the ambience,
the candle,
perfect. It's like everything is floating in the moon, and then we're sitting. You have your iPad, I have my phone. What happens?
We chat.
The chat.
Okay,
Because that's the major point.
You've been very positive, putting out the front where the people are positive, they want to work it out. But in some situations, it never gets worked out. So what are those potentially different situations that you know they're going to hit a brick wall, and then you need to understand that for the sake of both of you and for your individual selves, you have to walk away?
Well, comfort zone. Comfort zone, because the truth of the matter is that communication is hard work. It's hard work because it takes time, it takes energy, it takes your pride away. Let me put it that way. I don't want to say it takes humility. Let me put it the way we understand. It takes your pride away, because probably you are the one that would be able to break the silence. You've been giving yourself silent treatment, and it's okay, you don't want to talk, let's see who would eventually talk. And everybody keeps quiet and things are going wrong. As a matter of fact, a story was once
Or you
told.
stab your spouse, you're like, I'm so upset, I'm not feeding you.
Very bad. And sometimes even escalates to affecting your productivity at work, or even loss of job. A story was once told about a man who had a big job interview. Apparently, his wife is the type that wakes up very early. So all the days of their lives, she's the one that wakes him up, get ready for work. He's the heavy sleeper. And then he's got this big interview, big money coming, big opportunity. And unfortunately, they were keeping malice. And then, not being able to swallow his pride and talk to her about waking him up, he decided to put it down on paper. Please wake me up at 7 a.m. and placed it beside the woman's bedside. Of course, they were, as it happens, they sleep on the different divides of the bed, each facing south, the other north.
And the Red Sea.
So he placed the piece of paper, please wake me up at 7 a.m. and slept off. By the time he woke up, it was 9 a.m. And forgetting that, okay, you should have really spoken to that woman last night, he now busted. Why didn't you wake me up? I told you to wake me up. And the woman
She was
was like,
blamed, right?
eventually, I dropped you a note. Go and check your notes. Apparently, the woman replied, wake up, it's 7 a.m.
Oh my
and
goodness.
placed it back. So, at the end of the day, he lost that opportunity. So, you see, marital or couple communication goes beyond the two individuals. It affects work, it affects family life, for instance, where already they're married and there are offsprings, you find out that sometimes they use the kids to play the games. And you find spouses, instead of making their spouse their best friend, they cling to their offsprings. And things will keep going in
So
a
any
vicious
tips for
circle.
Valentine? What do you want to tell us this Valentine? What the couples need to know? Spend all the money you can, even in a
It's
recession.
not about money.
But you said money is one of the 5 love languages.
If it's not about money,
You
if
even let
it's
me
not your love
finish.
language.
You let me
Because if it's bandwagonism, hold on. If it's bandwagonism, that's one of the poems. If it's bandwagonism,
even let me finish. It's Valentine.
Okay, go ahead.
The average woman wants to be taken care of.
That's right.
Take her out, buy her flowers. Nigerian women aren't so into flowers, but take her out, buy her flowers, nice restaurant, some gift. During Valentine, money is the language.
No, now I know your love language.
But anyway, any tips this Valentine for people? Because Valentine always is stressful in Lagos. We're talking about traffic, people who have 3 girlfriends trying to meet all 3 girlfriends, they're constantly on the road, people delivering gifts to loved ones and all of that. So how would you advise somebody who doesn't want to get caught up in all that drama to spend Valentine's?
I was trying to say that sometimes we overlook our love language and join the bandwagon. In the sense that, okay, it's Valentine, they're supposed to give gifts, they're supposed to probably spend money, but that might not be your primary love language. Probably your love language is act of service. And
Which
because
kind of
everybody,
act of service?
for instance, you've been, what's funny about that? Acts of service, well, depending on what the preferences are. Initially, I mentioned the fact that probably the woman would prefer being helped out in the kitchen. The man might prefer you to take that car to the mechanic.
Yeah,
It's not just about... Or cut the grass, did you
cut
say?
the grass, you know.
How can you allow your wife cut grass?
Elephant grass. Or raise a ridge with a hoe.
Anyways, it could just be as simple as probably
Giving the kids a
spouse
bath.
having, exactly. Or maybe one of the spouses have an early parent who probably needs care, taking care of the medical bills, stuff like
Still
that.
talking about money, aren't we?
Anyway. No, it's money, but it's now solving a need. It's now serving
money always
in this
serves.
case.
It always serves.
No,
Whether
money
it's-
is good.
Whether it's the tummy need or the physical need, always serves the need. All right. Thank you so much. Chiamaka,
Thank
Bobby-Umeano. We'll be talking about relationships. Valentine's around the corner, and it's about communicating with your significant other, as well as those love languages, so that the relationship blossoms. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and I expect my own, I don't know, money from you.
I didn't say I was giving out money. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm expecting. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, the breakfast show will continue.